Hi, it's John, and I'd like to do this video today to tell you a bit about my awakening journey so far. And to recap, I am 45 years old. I went through a major awakening in November 2017, and over that last 4 years, I've been really going through an amazing journey, helping understand my true gifts, tapping into all the aspects, all the dimensions of myself, and my guides and my kind of galactic self and past lives, and also so many beautiful souls around this planet that I meet all the time. And it's also my mission to raise the vibrations of billions of hearts, and I do so by writing a song every day channeled through meditation to help raise people's vibrations. And recently I also started doing darkness clearing and healing sessions through one-to-one meditations and group meditations to help people remove negative entities and energies from around them and help them step into their true gifts. And so, to recap, first of all, in my 45 years on this planet so far, I think my childhood, I don't know what was different about me. Well, there were some early signs that I might go through this later in life. When I was just a toddler, I had what I thought was, or what I was told was, an imaginary friend. This was a dolphin called Buckle, and we had a little pond in our garden, and I used to see this dolphin Buckle all the time. It was like a bottlenose dolphin, and we used to talk like he was my friend. I used to play with him in the garden. I also used to save a seat for him at the dinner table, and it was funny. Like my parents thought it was really funny. They saw Buckle as an imaginary friend, and my older brother was often quite jealous. He was like, I think he even came up with his own imaginary friend to help keep him company. And yeah, that was a real journey. And I remember one of my last memories of Buckle was my dad showing me a book, and he showed me like an encyclopedia, and it had all these pictures of dolphins, and he was asking me which one Buckle looked like, and I said, look, it's like this one, it's like a bottlenose dolphin. And yeah, that was one of the early signs. And through my childhood, I guess there were some experiences as I went into my towards the age of, like, I think maybe 6 and 7. I often saw like shadow figures, so I'd see things like moving in the corner of my eyes. And I remember being very scared in our home at the time. We moved house many times, usually every couple of years, but there was a home I remember upstairs, and I was scared of the bathroom, the toilet, and you could see into this other room, and I often saw like shadows in there moving around the curtains. And I remember like asking my parents about it, and they said, no, like, even if you saw a ghost, like, shadows aren't real, like, they're just shadows. And yeah, after a while I think I learned to just kind of block that out, and if I saw it, just to ignore it. Keep going fast forward. So I think to the age of 17 is when, by that time, my parents had divorced, and I was just about to go to university. I was just about to leave home. And I remember my mum gave me, she'd had some Reiki classes, and had decided, she said to me, could she do a Reiki healing on me? And so she did, and she like put her hands like around my kind of auric field as I sat in a chair and meditated. And very quickly I had a lot of experiences. The first, I remember to this day very vividly, of seeing lots of faces like traveling towards me through kind of space, and they were like souls and like little bubbles, the little happy faces like flying past me, and it was almost like I was traveling through a space and time where there was souls. And then I was also taken on that journey to like later in the experience. The big thing that happened as well, I do remember very vividly, it's putting my head back and leaning back like this. And this wasn't something that my mum had asked me to do, but I went back, and this beautiful white light came down from like the top of the universe, as far as I was concerned, came down through me. It was like this pillar of light, and it just shone through me, and my whole body just came alive. I just felt so amazing. and it was so real. Like the light was so concentrated and so thick and yet pure. And then towards the end of that session, I also saw a sword, like the Excalibur sword in a stone, and I saw it like jammed into the stone. And I remember it felt like it represented truth, and it represented an unlocking, an activation that would happen at some point. And I felt that it would happen to me and it would happen to the world. So yeah, that brought back, thoughts. I was like, I've always been a big movie buff, and I really enjoyed, the movies about King Arthur and Lancelot and the sword and the stone. So yeah, that was really compelling for me. So that session kind of passed on, and then I think about halfway through university, during a summer, I used to work as a waiter, and I passed like the kitchen in the hotel we're in, and I remember seeing this really tall being. As I passed, I was like carrying a tray in this like empty kind of kitchen quarters, and all the lights were turned off. And as I walked past this doorway on the right hand side, a being stood out to the side to let me past. And as I passed, I had this big chill like go down me, and I could feel its kind of breath on me. I could feel its presence so close to me, and it was looking down at me, and it was really had ill content towards me, ill intent. And so I went in and I put down my tray, and I turned around, and what I thought was, I thought it was maybe the son that lived there at the hotel, because, or just next door to the hotel, because he was very tall, and I thought, often he would stand to the side there to let you past, and he wasn't there. There was no one there. In fact, that whole part of the hotel was empty, and that was a big thing for me. When I look back at that now, that was kind of the start of a period of my life where I pretty much shut down like any, experiences, any kind of perception of my own gifts or ability to see beyond like the 3D reality. And through university, I mean, I did have some experiences, but they tended to be more like plant medicine induced, and I did have like one kind of experience that felt, people would describe like a Kundalini awakening experience, where I had like massive shivers going up my spine, and this energy like flowing through me and like just kind of activating me, overcoming me. But I felt at the time that it was very much connected to the substances and not to anything to do with me. And I thought that was what everyone would go through. So I kind of put that to the side. And so through my 20s and 30s, I did what many people do in this lifetime. I was, as hobbies, I was in a few bands in my early 20s. Like I got into playing guitar and singing, and I chased a career. So and still to this day, I have a career in software development. So I started as a developer, and then I worked my way up into my 30s as like a CTO, like a chief technical officer of kind of medium-sized companies in Scotland and in the UK. And on that journey, I had some really interesting experiences. We have a beautiful house now. I have a wife and 2 children, and we also have a holiday house down in Scottish borders, and we have a motorhome. And these are all fantastic material things in my life. And I still feel, very much parts of this kind of 3D reality. So if you've kept up this far, well done. I guess we get to the important bit, right? So what changed? I'd been, through, since about the age of 17, I'd always drunk alcohol every weekend, and like many people, enjoyed the end of a weekend and celebrated, and either been relaxing and chatting with my wife or with friends, or like going out to the pub or playing gigs. And after a while, I realized into my late 30s and into my just around 40, I realized that this wasn't going to bring me happiness alone. That a salary, an ever increasing salary, which you can chase for the rest of your life, or a job title, or material possessions, like they're never going to make me any more happy than I already was. And in fact, aspects of myself I was like hiding, I was very unhappy about. And if I had a particularly stressful time, I had often moved job a lot, and there was one job move in particular that made me very unhappy, and I felt very it was almost like a karmic lesson I was learning. Like, this is the opposite of what you want. Long hours, difficult people to work with. That was a tough journey, and it was a tough period in my life. And once I came out of that, I moved into a company which is much more kind of, I guess, traditional in its approach to working, and I'd be able to like reach for now like a good work-life balance with that. So where was I getting to? Yeah, so just into like 2017, I remember I'd started for a couple of years before that playing music at the local pub, at an open mic most Wednesdays, and I really enjoyed that. And it helped me understand, connected with quite a lot of musicians, and it helped me understand some simple kind of principles that still resonate with me today. Some include things like there are infinite possibilities and potential around your creativity, and not everyone believes that. I've met a lot of musicians that believe, in some respects, they believe that there's limited creativity, or limited patterns of guitar chords or music, and that they've kind of all been taken and all the great songs have been written. And I don't really align with that. Everyone has their own opinion, and they're entitled to it. And I felt a big change for me was when we moved to this current house. So I'm very blessed to be standing here right now in a studio. It was like a double garage converted into a Zumba dance studio, and now it's my music studio. When we moved here, I remember my wife showing me the details of the house and the photos, and she was saying, "Look, it's got a studio." And I just started like in a room in the house, like recording some songs and like doing some stuff at weekends. And I really wanted to do a lot more, and I wanted to invest in more like electronics and equipment, so to help me like record it at high quality. So when I saw this, I was like, this is amazing. I could build a music studio in it. I could record whenever I want. And so yeah, we moved to this house, and there was in November 2017, along came one of my dear friends. She'd said, "Oh, there's me and my friends are running a Kundalini yoga session at the village hall just near my house. I actually run past it most mornings." And she said, "Would you like to come along?" And I said, "I've never tried it. I've never done yoga. I've never tried really meditation before." And she said, "Come along, like just try it out, try it for once." And so so I went along, and that was when I had my awakening. Like, it was like, I feel like you've heard like the kind of brief history of some of the events in my life leading up to that. And there was always like niggling doubts in me. Like, I always felt like there was a lot more to reality than meets the eye. And I can remember just before that awakening, I can remember I would be drinking on like a Friday night. So, a typical week for me was like work hard during the week, often working in late evenings, see my family and kids when I could during the week. Come Friday, I would drink. And I used to love whiskey so much. It's Scotland. Whiskey is great if you love it. And but no matter how much I drank, how little or how much I drank, I'd always have really bad hangovers. And so literally every Saturday morning I'd wake up and I'd stare in the mirror, and I feel terrible, so drained, and I'd always got this really bad migraines. And I look at myself, and there was something like, I think it's around like a 7-month period during 2017 where I just looked in the mirror thinking, every weekend thinking, there's a different timeline, there's a different universe when you're not like this, where there's a much happier, healthier version of you. You feel relaxed, you feel calm, you feel healthy and happy, your body, it feels younger and more flexible and stronger, and you feel like a creator, and I could see all this, I saw glimpses of this. And so after a while I realized, like, I think I'd like to be that person, but I didn't really know how to get to it, and I didn't really know what would have to stop to achieve it. I think the drinking was a big thing. I had the sense that, like, it might be killing me, like, over a long period of time, and it, you know, it's different for everyone, but I just didn't really feel like it was something I could really control. I couldn't moderate very well. I could still live a normal life, but I think my consumption was pretty high. So yeah, I went to this session, and this Kundalini yoga session, and in this meditation, like, very quickly, when I think about it, it was probably one of the first times, maybe the first time I'd ever meditated in my life. And almost immediately I was taken into this, like, these very clear visuals of floating through space, like seeing, like, nurseries of where planets and stars are born, like just experiencing the birth and the energies and the colors and the electricity that was flowing through all these beautiful aspects and dimensions of this universe. And I was seeing this thinking, I think this meditation's amazing. Like, I have never experienced anything like this. And I'm sober, sat on a floor in a village hall with about 8 other people, and we're just all meditating quietly together, and I can see these amazing things. And so at the end of the session, I remember saying to other people, like, what were your experiences like? And they did have experiences, and everyone had different experiences. I was so excited about mine. I kept telling everyone, like, did you see planets? Did you see stars being born? Did you see plant nurseries, galaxies, nebula, the colors, the energies? Like, did you see this? And no one saw the same thing. And they were definitely surprised or, you know, excited to see my excitement of my experience. And so after that, I thought, I could just do this every day. Like, actually, the process, I think, is quite quick. And I'd been watching some people on YouTube about, you know, doing some simple meditations. I remember at the time I watched, or around that time, I watched a lot of Aluna Ash and Bridget Nielsen, I think that's her name, who is a fantastic soul as well. And so I'd, like, been learning a bit about some simple meditation practices, and also Eckhart Tolle. So he, you know, I just, like, started to combine some meditations, and I started to do them every morning. So I'd go for my run in the morning, so I was always doing that every morning, and then I'd come back, and before gym I just sit down and I just meditate for like 5 minutes. And wow, I think that was a fantastic journey. There was another couple of key things that happened to me. One was in the lead up to my awakening, and this goes back to when YouTube started. YouTube started in, I don't really know, 2002 or 2003, I can't remember. But at that time, or maybe it was a bit later, but at that time, I started becoming very interested in UFOs and just, like, phenomena, paranormal, ghosts. And for years, I, you know, started to really, I guess, research on the internet, like, the truth, like, what is really going on out there? Like, what, this reality seems like it's a lot more than meets the eye. And as I started, the more I learned, the more unhappy it made me. Like, I felt so angry and so down. Like, I used to kind of push that anger back on myself, like, as a kind of depression. I was like, this planet is in, you know, is under control, and it is hiding so much truth is being hidden, and that is horrible. And my reaction to that, if anything, was just to kind of disconnect a bit from the reality around me, I'd probably drink more to kind of forget, or to just kind of numb that anger. And when I look back, it was a really important stage, because when you open your eyes and you see what's going on beyond what people are telling you, you realize there's a huge amount that is being held back and controlled. And it, you know, your immediate reaction is like, this is terrible. Like, the world's got to know. But, you know, that's the nature of control, is that when it's effective, it's very difficult to teach people a new message. It's really better that they learn it themselves. And so, yeah, another thing that happened to me just after my awakening was I had this kind of 5D experience. Now, this is amazing. And it was funny. I was just stood in my kitchen one day. So it was in this house. I stood in the kitchen and I was looking out the window, and it was just, I think it was like a Saturday afternoon or something. I can't remember. Nothing particular. I felt pretty calm. And I remember looking out the window, and there's a tree in our garden and some bushes either side. And I had this kind of, it was almost like this lens came over my eyes, and I saw everything suddenly in really bright lights. Like, all the colors were so vivid. You could see energies and like sparkles coming from everything that was living. Almost like there was a song to their energies. And the tree was kind of like slowly like waving in the wind, and the birds were like singing to each other and singing to the tree, and the tree was like communicating with the birds, and everything in the reality just seemed so high vibration and so happy. And I had that feeling. Like, I felt like I was part with, you know, I was one with the trees and the birds and everything else. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. It was just a few seconds, but when I saw it, I realized I was being shown that this is like a future reality. Like, it exists already, but it's just a higher frequency. It's like, you can get there. You can do this. This is something for you to work towards. This is going to be part of your journey. So that got me really excited. If anything, it was like a kind of amazing experience to help me like get more excited about going into developing, you know, my growth and my skills more, to learn more about what that could be like and get there. So we're 22 minutes in, there's still so much to tell. Yeah, so what happened next? I think there was definitely, as I started to build in, you know, tap into these first abilities, I started to touch on things like, well, I could write a song every day based on what I felt through meditation. And within just a few weeks of meditating, I started asking my spirit guides, and I didn't know that I was really talking to them or not. There was only them I asked to speak to. And I felt like one guide would always come forwards, and I didn't know their name, and I didn't know, you know, what the kind of process was exactly, or how I was doing it. But I just started on that. So every morning I would go through my meditation, and I'll make sure there's a link to it in the video, and there's like a guided version of it. And then in this experience, I would, in meditation, I'd just say, guides, higher self and source, please tell me what messages you have for me today for my song, with the highest good, love and compassion. And so even with my guides, higher self and source, like, set your intention. And I just listen, and as the kind of message would kind of flow through me, I would just say it out loud. And how would I describe that experience? I describe it as like the most incredibly quiet whisper that you can't hear with your ears. It's not like a voice in your head. And I think I know everyone experiences this differently. Maybe for some people it is like a voice in their head. But for me, it's like incredibly quiet. It's almost like your heart is just making a very quiet, like, words are just slowly coming in, and they're very calm. And the words come with emotion and visuals and frequency and resonance. It's like it's like a whole kind of collage of different aspects, different dimensions of a message, with every, I guess I would see them as a word that comes through. But often I'm being shown something, shown a visual, and then I'm just describing it. And so the way I manifest it to this reality is I just say it out loud. So I just sit there meditating, ask for my guide's higher source and self to bring through a message, and then I just kind of say out loud what comes, and I don't think about it, I don't dismiss it, I don't try and like rationalize it. I just say it. And after that, like after I've done my gym, I go and like get a shower and stuff, and then I come back, have my breakfast, and I start, and I just record the song like based on that message. What's really helped me as well in the last year and a half, it might be as much as 2 years, is my daily meditation videos. So I started recording myself just saying like what I heard in meditation, and I felt that was really good because it's like my handwriting's not amazing, and it saves me like writing a load of stuff and helps me convey some of that emotion and visualization through the video experience. So I'd also been through, I don't know, there's so many big things that have happened in my awakening journey. I think, you know, just kind of centering around like the first year or so, what was really hard is that people around me saw me change, right? So my friends, for example, would be like, you stopped drinking. Like, what fun is that? and I'd be thinking, but if I drink alcohol, I feel terrible. It really, personally, I feel like it really lowers my vibration. Even if I'm like dancing around and stuff, I tend to be like, it's almost like this kind of manic side of me that is, and I actually feel quite vulnerable. I feel like, you know, they call it spirits, alcohol spirits for a reason, right? I feel quite vulnerable in that state, and I felt like I can like dance around and have loads of fun. In fact, I can have even more fun because I'm not going to fall over or like insult people and stuff. I can just go crazy, like let my inner child just go wild. And I did, and I do. In fact, and you see me in my, you know, my music videos, pretty much 4 years sober, and I just go crazy. I absolutely love it. Love dancing around. So yeah, there was that side of it, and then the other thing was meditation. People like a lot of friends just thought it was very strange. Like, why are you doing these things? Why are you meditating? And then when I started to post stuff on social media, yeah, I did get like a bit of backlash. Like some people would just say, you know, they would like kind of complain to me, or, you know, a family member, and say, what's John doing? Like, is he crazy? Is he going through like a midlife crisis? And I feel like that's a kind of reaction to, you know, to the programming that we have around us. You know, why can't people just say what they want, be what they want, express themselves, whatever it is, you know, especially when you're not hurting others. And especially when it's in, you know, the name of love. And so, like, I just reacted the same way I would to people that kind of, if I've, you know, been very lucky and not had trolls and, you know, much negative comments on my channel in the 4 years, or it's actually been since YouTube started that I've run my channel. So I would just like block people. I'd just be like, you know, if you're going to treat me like that in real life or in social media, like, I don't want to be a part of that journey. So I would just block them. So there we go. They can go off and think what they want and do what they want, and so will I. And we don't need to, you know, be together. And I have no, I have no kind of ill feel towards it. I don't think everyone will resonate with everyone's expressions, and that's absolutely fine. So that was one way I dealt with it, was just like, even family members, I'd just be like, if you're not interested, if you don't like what I'm doing, like, just don't be a part of it. It's absolutely fine. I'm fine. I've never been happier. I've never been fitter, healthier, calmer. So yeah, that was one big thing. The other thing I did in my day-to-day work is I would, in my day job, I learned that you could start to integrate some of the stuff that you're learning in this like crazy metaphysical world as I'd started my awakening. And so one thing I did was I'd play music at work. So every month there was the opportunity to play, and I used to just play mainly cover songs, and just like happy cover songs. And then sometimes I'd play my own songs, and like we formed bands and we'd play them at work, and that was great fun. The other thing I do is, like, if there's an opportunity, since I'm always set up to write music, if there's an opportunity to, I would write a song for someone. So if someone joined my team or left, or there's a special occasion, I just write them a song. And it was that was really lovely. And in fact, one video I remember got presented to a huge number of people like thousands of people, tens of thousands of people in the company, and that was really lovely, because it's almost like reaffirming that even in a big corporate, which I work, you can shine your light, and I think that's really exciting. It's like there's the kind of little sparkle of divinity in all of us. There's a little sparkle of magic in every single one of us. There's still an inner child that's wanting to have fun, is wanting to play, and you can, if you find it, you can tap into it. And a lot of people try and shut it down and hide it, or just hide it during their day job and then go crazy in their evenings and weekends or whatever they do. Yeah, I thought that was really good fun. So I still do that. In fact, I did one just on Friday, which gets presented next week. The other thing I did, I changed what I was wearing, and I think it's really funny. So I had this this crystal. I think it's like a rose quartz, although I'm not great on remembering crystals' names. But I wear this one like all the time. It really helps like kind of clear what I would describe as like stress and kind of negative emotions you can hang on to in your body and around your heart. And so like, having it here is like, it's super helpful. And then I also had like little t-shirts like this with like the Beatles with it. I don't know if you can see it, but it has Yoda down here as well, which I think, apologies, is instead of Ringo Starr. But yeah, I just started changing what I was wearing, and I started changing what I was saying as well. And I think it's because there's magic in it, right? And so I believe that there's energy and magic in the things you say. So I no longer say things like, I would never say I'm ill. I would say I am recovering from illness. I'm healing. I would never say my clothes are or aren't spiritual. I would say, my clothes are a reflection of how I feel at this time. And you notice I also wear a lot of black, which I think is really funny. I have like black t-shirts and a lovely black hoodie from All to Love. And what's really funny about that is, I guess, that like here you are working the light all day and wearing black is really funny. And so, yeah, the next thing I'd like to go on to is, in my music, for quite a long time, I think about 2 years, and in my meditation and spiritual journey, I was like super focused on love and light. It was like, that's all there is. There's only one side to this coin, and it's all love, and we just need to make the whole world love, and we're all great. And then over time, and I don't really know, I don't think there was one specific trigger. There's been some very instrumental people in my life who showed me that they can express their darkness in a safe way, if you like, in a very powerful and it sounds funny, but like a very loving way. I think what was starting to get to me is the duality. Like if you only focus on one side, you're creating duality with the other side. And so if you're only focused on love and light, then your darkness is like left. And so every time I went through like a kind of shadow moment, like, for instance, I used to have a lot more, body shame. I'd be like, I'm just like the skinny little guy, and like, why, what's with this body? And I would like find it, so I'd like tackle that. I'd go to like a kind of shadow moment with it. I would say, right, that's it. Right, we're doing topless dancing. we're going to wear stuff that maybe you wouldn't have been comfortable wearing before. We're going to keep working on being happy and healthy. And like every time I see myself in the mirror, I say, I love you, and like send that love to your body. And the kind of darkness, a lot of that shadow work taught me about there's something about the darkness in you that needs healed. It needs understood. It needs loved, and it doesn't need destroyed, right? We're not here to, if you just had a universe that was entirely light, then how does that work, right? Because everything's just like completely flat. There's no like spectrum of color of emotions. Everything's just flat. and therefore is it dark or light? I don't know. But in this universe of dark and light, and what is really everything in between, and so there is kind of no light and no darkness. There's just a whole spectrum, like a whole range of frequencies. I realized I need to like do a lot more work with my darkness, get closer to it, and I just started to work through, like in songs I'd start to bring out. You maybe saw some songs a year or two ago. I'd start to do songs like that were more darkness focused. I would like. I think there is a song called "Heal My Darkness," or there's quite a few like that, and it was a way of me expressing some of those darker feelings and experiences. I also, a lot of people ask about how do you meet your spirit guides. Well, my story is quite funny. I met my spirit guides I was meditating after a morning's run in a hotel in Canada. Now, I think I was in Vancouver. And so I was sat there meditating, and I just like asked my guides to like say, hey, could you like introduce yourselves, please? And it was so funny. Like so I sat there with my eyes closed, and there's this kind of big wall in front of me with this glass wall in front of me, windows to outside, and all my guides like turned up, and they all stood in a lineup. It was like something out of like a kind of Hollywood movie photo shot, and they just stood in a line. And so in my meditation, I was just like sat there, and I was kind of like it was almost like my light body was just like standing up, and I would introduce and I'd say hello to each one of them. And there's certainly like an eclectic mix. And at that time, there was actually a different set of guides that I have now. Or should I say, I've got a few more friends that come forwards and help. And I'm sure my guides won't be entirely happy about me not remembering all their names or all of them. But the ones that stood out to me in that first introduction was, I knew my main guide, or the one that spoke to me the most at the time, was called Maya. And she was like this woman in beautiful like white light, white hair, such a loving soul. And she was like primarily communicating with me through my meditations. Like she would help me with my kind of channeling of meditations and songs. And so she was there, and she's like, I think her origins are related. She's like almost like a sister or like a soul fragment of planet Earth, of Gaia. So she's deeply connected into her. And then so who else did I meet? The first two I met, and I think this was ordered in the least scary for me to understand. So the first two I met, they're like two humanoids, like two humans, but they came from a very different planet. I get the sense it's like Sirius, but I don't know. They actually showed me in one of my first meditations I did. They actually turned up. So they're twins. They're called, I think, Tom and Ron, which is like so funny. It's like, so let me get this right. You're twins. You look like humans. You maybe are humans, and you've got these funny human names, these like common human names. But they'd like taken me on like an astral travel in an early meditation, showed me their planet. And that was like one of the big things as well that like really blew my mind, is like you can ask your guides to like help you and take you places. And so yeah, that was amazing. So I met those guys, and then they almost feel like my kind of local support team. They're like, those guys are located physically much closer to me, and they're much closer in relation to this kind of human form. Okay, and then there was, who was after that? I think after that there was, the next person was, that's right, a spirit guide who's Lyran, so like a kind of cat being, a lioness, and yes, Serena is her name. And she was like saying hello to me, and just letting me like get used to the fact that she's not as humanoid as humans, and that there is such a thing, and that they that they exist. And she was very loving and very calm. She didn't say much. And then there was like a mantis being. Now I don't know the name of my mantis guide. Like a praying mantis, like huge, like really tall, like the biggest by far. Really calm, really like a peacemaker, like a facilitator, and like a kind of. I had sensed them. I had experiences, one-off experiences with each of these guides before then, but never kind of seen them together collectively. And then there was also, who else? There was a reptilian who I'd seen a number of times, and her name was Lucy, and or like Lucine, and she was quite tall. She was about like 7 foot tall, and really powerful, like really loving, not aggressive, not a bad bone in her body, but very protective. And I'd often see her in my kind of mind's eye, like wandering around the outside of our house, like patrolling. She was like, she'd be looking out, making sure there's nothing coming in and interfering with me or causing any problems. A big protector, and she still is. And also that she has that kind of strength, that courage within her. And then there's Marek, the next one. It's funny how I remember the name before the being. Much shorter, much smaller, difficult to describe. Very kind of like a guide, like my darkest guide in terms of his light. And he was small, and he kind of hid away. Like he didn't like to show too much of himself, because he was the lowest frequency that you could be to be a guide or a guide for me. And he had recently just like come from being a dark entity, like of the darkness. And but what he had done is he'd like kind of leveled up to help represent the part of me that needs the most healing and needs the most loving, and also to assist me with anything that I need to connect into the kind of lower frequencies with. And I remember like writing a song about him really quickly. I think it's called Marek. Hopefully I'm getting these names right. They're similar if they're wrong. And then what was there a last one? I think that was it. And then since then, I've also met other guides. So others have turned up, including I've had experiences like Elvian guides, quite tall and wise, and like full of kind of magic, and like magic that's been here or is here on planet Earth, and then also Lyrans. So I've seen like entire what do you call them, a kind of like a tribe, I guess, of Lyrans, and in particular one called Emenshal, who's like a lion who just like roars, and I ask his help a lot with darkness clearing. And who else? Yeah, there's also been some others, especially the kind of, I've had experiences of being in previous lives of being like a shapeshifter, like a dolphin, or like a mermaid or merman, and so that kind of Atlantean, Lemurian experience, and sometimes guides from those eras come through as well. So yeah. I haven't asked for like a lineup of all my guides in a while, but I do see them, the time I tend to see them most together is when I'm doing like a darkness clearing session. So yeah, that's just my experience. I think everyone's experience is different. I would like, I was frustrated for ages. Like, when am I guides gonna turn up? Like, everyone else says they have spirit guides. And like, even like Homer Simpson in like the Simpsons movie, like sees like spirit guides and stuff. Like, where's mine? Or where's my spirit animal? Or where's my past life recalls, or all these things. And how would I describe it? The way it works is, when you reach the right level of development for you, and everyone has their own individual journeys, then these things you can ask for these things to come into your life. And you do need to give them permission. You do need to ask for it. And I think I asked like every day for like months. And sometimes you find, sometimes you get a great sense of humor. Like I remember my guide Maya saying to me, you'll, because I'd say things like in meditation, I'd say, guides, like, please show yourself. And Maya would say, I've been turning up for like 2 years every day. Like, what more do you want? Like, I'm here. Like, and I remember getting to like 1,000 songs as I passed writing 1,000 songs. And then literally, I'm so stubborn and maybe, you know, it lacked such belief, is that I got to the stage of like, I think this is going to stop at some point. Like, I just felt like this would run out, that I'd run out of inspiration. And it was so funny because I remember asking meditation, like, for how long can this keep going? And they just said, well, think about how many emotions you can have. Is there any limitation to the number of emotions you can have? And I'm like, no. Is there any limitations to the number of experiences you can have? No. And what do you write your songs about? And it's like, well, they're kind of like experiences and emotions and all kinds of stuff, I guess. And like, exactly. And it literally took me 1,000 songs to realize, okay, I get it. There's like, it's just limitless. And so you can just go forever until the day I die, and probably after. So that was fun. I've also seen some incredible experiences like UFOs, and I thought that's really funny. I saw this like massive UFO. There's a song called Ship in the Sky. It describes all about it. I think there's a link in that video to the description. And that was when it was like one of these Galactic Federation ships, or the Galactic Federation ship, like physically turned up at a morning run. And I was like, my dog was there to witness, but I had like no camera or anything, which is a shame, but it was huge. It's like 5 moons in length. It traveled across the sky very slowly, and I could see, like, I was streaming with tears, which is apparently quite common when you experience something as big as that. And I was just so happy and so excited, and I asked the meditation afterwards, and they were saying it's like all these different alien races, and they went to a lot of effort. You should be very grateful that they went to a lot of effort to show themselves. And I just saw this huge ship with all these lights in it, like going by, and it's like, that is mind-blowing. Anyway, what else is helpful in our last 10 minutes? So when it's definitely harder to kind of relate with other people, like people, whether they're on a spiritual journey or not, or conscious on one or not, I believe everyone is spiritual. Like, everyone has thoughts and feelings and aspirations and dreams, and that everyone's just on different journeys. And so as you go through your journey, like, think what it would be like for those around you to go on their journeys. And how could you help inspire them? And don't get me wrong, there's a big part of me that just wants to sell my house, leave my job, and go and live in a field or live in a mountain and just be like, hum all day, just be like meditating all day and writing songs and maybe post them on YouTube or something. Like, that would be amazing. But there's still a lot for us to do to help transform and transmute this kind of 3D reality. And so, like, when people, first of all, if people are like totally closed and they think you're completely crazy, like a crazy middle-aged hippie with like, who's having some sort of massive nervous breakdown, it's taking a long time, then like, just be happy around them, right? Just, you know, talk to them about things that they can relate to. I talk about the things in my 3D life, like if I'm sat at like a dinner table and people are asking me, like, I tell them about my job, and I tell them about the things I'm doing, the things I love about it, and the things I'd like to do in the future. If they ask about my music, like I say, I've written lots of songs, and then quite often they say, like, but how did you like come up with so many lyrics? Like, how did you write 85 albums? Or how did you write 1,500 songs? And so explain a bit about meditation. And sometimes people look at you like they're like possessed, or they're like, there's something crazy about you. And other times I hear people say, it sounds like you're tapping into your intuition, and like you've got a great way of like expressing that. It's fantastic. Like, keep going. And others will kind of look at you and go, yeah, I get it. Like, I meditate a lot, and I sometimes get messages, or I sometimes, use it in my art. So like, I draw and I create things, and I kind of feel like I'm in the zone when I'm doing it, and I feel like I'm channeling something. It's fantastic. So that's really cool. Also, if I want to, sometimes when you talk to people, you see the different side of them. So sometimes, like their kind of higher self will step in, right? And I felt a bit like that myself in 2017 when I had my awakening, that it was like kind of a higher version of myself, a higher timeline stepping in. And sometimes you get glimpses of that. And sometimes the person will look at you and you look at their face and it looks different. It almost looks very excited. And their eyes are like, you're like, you see this like ancient soul in there, and they're like, they're asking you something like, but how do I start meditating? Or I've never tried it, what would I do? Or could you show me? And you're thinking, this is the last thing I'd expect this person to ask me. But you can do it. Like you can, be there for them. And other things I talk about is like the most kind of metaphysical things that exist in like the 3D world. So they tend to be things like dreams. Like if you speak to people about dreams, they'll either tell you that they have like some recollections at some point in their lives of like crazy dreams that were super cool, or had crazy synchronicities, or maybe they saw a ghost in their life or something. And I often talk to people about dreams and talk to them about my dreams. Like I go on missions around planet Earth with the Galactic Federation with about 7 other people, and we work with each other's gifts to like clear darkness and remove, to liberate souls and liberate people. It's so funny, like talking to people, they're like, that's a crazy dream. I was like, I know, right? It is incredible. And then another big thing is like practicing like zero judgment. Like there is no judgment, right? When people call you crazy or like a hippie or like a witch or a warlock or possessed or having a midlife crisis or something, they're putting you in a box and they're labeling you and they're saying like, this is a thing. And so when you do that to other people, if you say like, oh, you're like a muggle, you're not awakened at all, like you're not doing anything, look how much I've done, that is totally wrong, because everyone's going on their own journeys, and what it feels like is happening is that people are now going through awakenings much faster. I just went away for breakfast and came back. So yeah, where did I get to? Just talking about people's journeys. So everyone's journey is different, and I feel like the whole planet is awakening much faster now. And I feel for all the waiting in my journey so far, I feel grateful for that. I feel grateful for this journey. It very much suits my, the aspects of my personality where I'm often very kind of, how do you describe it? Tenacity and repetition are like big things for me, and being able to really step through that journey gradually has helped me a lot. Like every day, just doing, practicing each day, stepping into my, my next gift, like whether it's meditation, whether it's music, whether it's darkness clearing, which I'll come on to, and just opening my mind each more and connecting with more people and listening more as I grow. I think other people, those that have chosen in this lifetime, if they want to go through an awakening to different levels, and I feel like people, including myself, will have many awakenings, that you'll do this at different paces. And what I feel now is that there's like a kind of quickening, that it's happening faster and faster for people, and that's a lot, right? It's taken me an hour to get to this stage with just explaining what's happened to me the last 4 years. And to do that, imagine that was 4 months, 4 weeks, or 4 days. Like that is like, bam, your whole world changes. It's like someone saying to you, so the truth is, this 3D reality, it's like an illusion. And there are large elements of it that are completely under control. Apologies if you can hear my dog Patch in the background, scratching himself. And imagine, waking up to that and going, oh, what do I do? And saying, well, good news. Like, turns out you're like infinite abundance, and that you have connections that, travel through eons of different lifetimes and different experiences, and that you can connect into like the infinite source of this universe and create what you want and manifest what you want and create reality around you. Like, oh, wow, that's great news. And so now what do I do? And it feels like hold space for everybody that is at a different stage from you. And when they're asking, like I feel like I should lead by example, right? It should be like, I'm doing my thing. Like I still have a corporate day job, so I'm doing that. I'm shining a light there. and there'll be a time that, you know, that won't be the right thing for me, but for now it is. And I definitely have aspirations to you know, keep writing songs all the time. I want to do more darkness clearing sessions. I'm doing about one a week at the moment. And meditations, I'm sure there's more things like readings for people, and my next kind of big step is also moving into like more energy work. And yeah, I feel like that's going to be my way of like shining a light for people. And when people can see you juggling kind of aspects of this 3D reality, and then also other realities like 4D, 5D and beyond, it's great to be able to show that, you know, I'm not insane. Like, I totally get what's real, what's not. I can discern, I'm happy, I'm healthy. There's no destructive aspects to my behavior anymore, whether it's myself or others. And I'm not seeking anything outside of me. Like, I know all the answers like lie within me, that they're within my gift, within my knowing, within my past lives, within the universe within me to learn about. And as I connect with others and go on journeys and face my fears and my shadows and travel this world, that I'll learn more and more about the different aspects of me and how to be a better me. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. And so kind of just ending this video on what's next for me. I touched on it. Like a big thing for me, I started in last summer, I started doing some darkness clearing sessions. I'd had a reading from Jenny in Starseed Academy, who'd said, hey, there's a mission for you here if you choose to accept it, which is to, you know, at the time I felt I was really all about the light. And she said, you can also do a lot of work with darkness. Like, you can clear darkness, you can heal. And I started on that journey. I started doing some sessions. Like, there was like no training or anything. Like, Jenny just said, like, hey, you can like use your hands and you can clear darkness, and you can ask for like archangels to help. And there's a spirit guide here called Evan Shell, who's a lion, who's gonna like help you. You're like, oh great, let's do this. And it's been such an amazing journey. Like, I think what I'm getting to is, when you embrace something, like, it was terrifying at the time. I was like, why would I do this? This seems like an awful job. Like, do I want to be an exorcist? And I've seen the movies, I've seen a lot of horror movies, and I was like, I don't know, I want to be that person. But that was the past. And what was exciting about the challenge was that I could like step forwards into something that was completely unknown for me. And so far, I've done about, I don't know exactly, somewhere between about 8 and 10 sessions. Every session is completely different. Everyone is like kind of guided by the main guide of the other person that I'm helping heal and clear. And they take, you know, together we go on this journey, and typically we're going into past lives. Sometimes we even go into hell to like, to help retrieve parts of their soul that's been fragmented and that they've split off because they're scared of bringing it back together. And so it's my job to help like bring that person whole again, and to help them, you know, face their shadows with love and forgiveness and integrate their gifts, right? Often that part has been pushed away because they did something in previous life. They really don't want to integrate with them. Like, they felt it was really bad. So yeah, you can see on my channel, there's darkness clearing links to the playlist of the sessions I've done, and also the videos there. So they've been epic. But what's been really interesting as well, every session for me has had a connection, like a past life connection, which is fascinating. Because I feel like it's as much a journey for me as it is for the person that I'm doing it with. So I learn so much about me. And even if I don't really talk in the session about my direct experience and how it relates to this person, like, I remember very clearly the past life that I had. And sometimes it's a passing connection. So I might like have met them briefly in that lifetime, but I remember the time I had similar experiences. We might have been doing very similar roles, and that's why we met, like as healers or as kind of witches or wizards or like whatever it was. And yeah, I think the next big thing for me is like learning about my more about my gifts. So I felt like it's been really important as I do. You see me in darkness clearing sessions, like talking to spirit guides and higher selves and aspects of people's selves, and it it's amazing because it feels very natural to me in those sessions, and it's not something it's not really dominant during the day for me. Like it's when I focus my attention and clear my mind and I go to that meditation that I can get into that kind of trance-like state where I'm able to communicate. And it's also been really empowering, like especially to be able to face darkness. It's helped me in my life start to tackle my fear, to go places physically that I would be scared of going, and knowing that I have a gift where I can push back darkness from around me, like the energy of darkness, whether it's in people or whether it's in a physical space. And because I feel like it's an energetic universe first, like it's the energy first and then it's the physical. And I don't know what's happening next. A friend was saying to me that they felt that there would be there was a guide of mine who wanted to, or a past life aspect of me that wanted to reintegrate, which had kind of this gift of kind of like almost like an electrical energy. I felt my sense is that it's for healing and also as part of my clearing work, and that it can also have effects on the physical world as well, which is super exciting. So I started that integration this morning in my meditation. I was very careful. I made sure that it was me asking me to integrate, right? So I'm not asking any other entity or any other energy. I'm just saying, for all the aspects of me, for all the aspects of my guides, to like bring in all the gifts that I have and all the power that I've given away in this lifetime or others, and bring them into this lifetime and to integrate. So yeah, that's been that's really exciting. And I'm also just practicing things like I like pyrokinesis, like trying to affect flames like with your energy without touching them or blowing at it. Same with like objects like foil or leaves. I guess like air kinesis, telekinesis. Yeah, those subjects fascinate me, and I feel like it is part of like a developing gift. And it's also part of it's because we're preparing for this planet to help as we raise the vibrations of the planet as well as ourselves. Like, I mean, every living thing, including the planet, that these gifts will be much easier. And so in many respects, we're like laying the foundations to help us for when we can have more of an effect on the 3D reality. But you can do it in small in small ways just now. So definitely recommend trying some of these things. I know some people like Kimber Kiss, who is on YouTube and Instagram. She has videos of like moving plants with her energy without touching them, moving wind, and I've had some limited success, like moving foil, like if it's on a needle and like spinning it around with my energy, or like pushing my energy at it. Yeah, it's exciting. So that's it. I think we should stop there for now. Thank you so much for listening. It's been great journaling this experience so far. And I'd really love more people to share their journeys. I feel everyone's journey is so different and so eclectic, like full of such magic and such mystery and excitement. And it's a time for us not to be ashamed. We should never feel shame about the experiences we have. I'm so grateful for all the people I've met, for all the souls that I've interacted with, including those that have taught me what I feel is right and wrong, like whether I should hide away my truth or not. And I don't believe I should. This is why I record videos like this and put it out on YouTube. And it's really important for me that others do the same. Be the person, be the kind of crazy hippie spiritual person in someone's life. Be there for them. Show them that it's not scary, that it's actually a really happy place, and that they can explore so many gifts that they didn't believe they ever had, and that it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be weird. It's great. Being weird is like a compliment now. And things are just going to get weirder. They're just going to get even more magical and more exciting. And that is just so exciting. It fills my heart with such joy and such anticipation for the future happening now. It's like happening now. And so embrace it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I do this on some of my longer videos. So if you've made it this far, I'm going to ask you to put in the comments, just say the word Patch, who's my dog. And he's also desperate to go for, I can't say the word because he'll start jumping around. But yeah, just put his name in the comments, Patch, and let me know that you've watched all the way through. It's so important for me. I love all the support you give. It's my honor to share this journey with you and the space and time and frequency. And I'm so excited to keep working and keep exploring our gifts. So yeah, let's do this. We got this. Send my love from Scotland. I love you.